better today. No, I'm just kidding. That happens a lot. I am proud that we got off to a good start. We did hit a wall that became obvious when you're going up against a team like South Carolina at home, playing really, really good. They just frustrate you. You can do a lot of right things, and then they make you wrong at the end of it. We've had a really tough week. We had a 3-game week on the road here and at LSU. And I was proud of the way our kids fought at the beginning and then at the very end. The middle, we got work to do. But again, it's great to see in our league what the national champion looks like, the number one team looks like. I'm glad we got those out of the way. We don't play either LSU or South Carolina again until March, potentially. So, yeah.
Like, when I think in the first quarter there, they kind of put their height in and started to switch it out on the shooters. How much did it take away the three-point blend?
It takes it away. It changes everything. They can switch and still keep you in front and contest. And we can do all we want to try to simulate that. We can find all the brooms and ball bats or wiffle ball bats, whatever. It's not the same when it's Aaliyah Boston and Cardoza and me here, and just keep going down the list. Even Dear Bill. All those kids can contest you. We made a few that kept us in it early, but then you miss a few, and then it just compounds and snowballs. But that's what they do to you. They physically, they mentally. We had 2 turnovers in the first half, and normally you're like going back there celebrating, but you still didn't end up with great shots that we took. They forced us to take a lot of late more deep in the shot clock than we've been all year long. Any game that we've been. They're impossible to prepare for. You can't find enough men's practice players on your campus to simulate a roster this deep and this talented and this cohesive. And, again, all credit to Dawn and her staff and their players. But that's not the team we've been being the last couple of weeks either. We've got another gear than what we showed in the second, third, and fourth quarter.
If you've now seen LSU and South Carolina back-to-back weeks, that's kind of been the
back-to-back games.
So between those 2 programs, does one stand out to you more? Does Angel or Aaliyah stand out to you more? Just kind of where are you at reflecting on those 2 teams right now?
I hope they both declare early. There's very little difference. There's some tactical things, but at the end of the day, they're very, very similar. I cannot wait for them to play each other and see how the rebounding battle goes. It's just going to be the biggest challenge that day will be for the SEC to get an officiating crew that can manage it, because it is going to be, again, what do you tell a kid? Box out? Seriously? Is that what? It's not going to work. There's not really a solution to some of the things that they do. But it's the intensity that they do it at that separates them. There's a lot of tall teams out there, but there's not a lot of tall teams that go at it like their coaching staff gets them to go at it. I wouldn't bet a penny against either one of them when they play. It's just going to be fun to sit back and watch. I know we'll all have to, at the end of the year, put a name down between probably Angel and Aaliyah for Player of the Year, and we'll see what happens in that game. Probably that'd be my guess, but they're both, in my opinion, and we've been in the building with Ohio State, who I think's in the conversation for one of the best teams in the country. We played in the tournament with them, saw them back to back. We saw Oregon up there. We've seen a lot of these good teams. I think either of the teams you just mentioned are Final Four probabilities, which puts us somewhere in there, but not there yet.
Obviously, coached against Aaliyah Boston her whole career here. I know you were just talking about how difficult it is to prepare for South Carolina and what they bring, but with Aaliyah specifically, with what she brings, I guess, to the table from the productivity standpoint, what is it about her game that kind of makes it difficult to prepare?
She can switch and guard your point guard. She can roll and guard your big. She can help. She's incredibly – I don't think she gets enough credit for her basketball IQ. I think too many people just say she's tall and she's talented. They don't understand how hard it is. She gets fouled literally every time she shoots it. We had a kid like that when I coached at Xavier, and people just stopped calling it, but she gets hit. and she powers through it and she smiles through it and she all shucks us through it and all that. I don't think people understand how many times just her body positioning keeps you from getting it where you want to get it. And her closeout ability, her ability to close out on kids that, I mean, we've got some quick guards that normally don't have any problem getting it to the basket, and she's keeping them in front. Again, I had this conversation with Christy Thomas Cuddy before the game. Stats are never in basketball. Stats are never a good indicator of impact on a game. So you can't just stack up stats, rebounds, and points and assists side by side. I think Aaliyah Boston's impact on this program has got to be, and y'all are down here, I wouldn't dare make the judgment instead of y'all, but I mean, I don't know how much room y'all got out there for another statue, but this back-to-back games we went and saw. I think it's great that women's basketball is getting statues. We saw Simone Augustus's last game. We saw Aaliyah's, and Asia's, potentially Aaliyah's, but I saw that banner out there. I think it's cool that y'all hung that banner, unanimous #1 in 2020. That's creative. I like that. But I mean, there's a good chance they would have had another national championship that year. I wouldn't have put it against them. So she's elevated it to another level that it was already at, sustained it. There's a lot of teams that get there, but it's really hard to sustain. I think obviously her coming in, and then Saxton's been, if you look at Saxton's stats against us in her 4 years career, they may be better all around. She is finally out of eligibility, isn't she? I mean, she can't come back. She's been unbelievable. And this is just a roster. I mean, when we started doing the scout, it was like, okay, don't even put names on there. Let's just put positions and just know that they're going to keep bringing bodies in that are capable of doing what they're doing. But I don't want to lose sight on the fact that I think we've got a team that in time can compete better than we did today. And later in the year, hopefully we can. We've played pretty well this year. It just didn't really show up today, and that's how good they are.
Like, this kind of touches on what you just said. You have been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
And LSU tight games in the end there. How confident are you that when you guys get back together, they'll be able to flush what happened today and kind of push forward?
Zero doubt. They're already doing it. We've segmented the season all year long. We did it in the preseason. We've got the next 5 games are going to be against teams that are in the similar position that we are, fighting for that 4th spot. I said it since the beginning of the year. I thought there were 3 teams that had clearly separated themselves. I thought Tennessee, South Carolina, and LSU had clearly separated themselves. And then there was about 11 of us. It's just going to see what happened. We don't have to play. We got Tennessee still coming up. That's it. But other than that, we're done with those guys. I am 100% confident they're already doing it. I saw it in the 4th quarter. Not talking about specifics. I think Alabama's next. We have Alabama at home and Ole Miss, but they're on to the next segment. And I think that's because we've got a bunch of kids that have been here, know how hard it is, and have a little bit of awareness that we did just have to play back-to-back at LSU, at South Carolina, after a Monday game. And we had all kinds of travel issues, which, again, not one of those kids would want me to even bring that up as an excuse, but it is a reason that I think we did run out of gas. We're hanging around. We're at least keeping it competitive, and then just, they happen. But that's how good they are. And that's when you sign up to come to this league as a coach or as a player, there's a chance this is going to happen to you. Seems like it happens to us a lot. Just back-to-back unbelievable stretches where you've got to fight through it and see what you're made of and see if we can bounce back. But I'm confident, 100%. Got some Arizona folks back home. For those of y'all at home, y'all didn't hear it. We got introduced as the Arizona Razorbacks.
Ethan, do you have a question?
No, I'm good. I think that the folks there took care of a lot of it for me.
Ethan? If he's having trouble, Christina, we'll go with you.
Can you guys hear me? I don't think they can hear us. I don't.
No, I can't.
We're getting ready to start hearing some Arizona jokes if y'all don't get this figured out. How many records did we break for margin of rebound today?
It was a record.
NCAA,
No,
Last 20 years.
it was bad. It was-
thanks for going back that far. Appreciate your diligence. I was hoping you'd say like this week or just, I appreciate your due diligence.
Hey, you got an assist for helping Dee fix her list.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's my one thing for the day. We good?
All right, Christina said, second quarter, just what happened from
Yeah.
when you kept it close in the first to them breaking away in the second.
They went really big. And that's just, we don't have an answer for that. We needed to make some of those threes. When they went really big, Miriam got 4 good looks, and I want her to shoot all 4 of those the rest of her career because she's going to make 2 of them. It's just a big ask for a freshman to come in and do in that environment. She and Aaron went 0 for 7 tonight after going 2 for 5 or 6 the other night. When they went big, we could not do anything with them around the basket or on the boards. And then we got frustrated. And I think that was when we allowed ourselves to be tired. We were physically tired, but you can fight through it mentally and you can trick them and all that stuff as long as you're playing well. But the second it goes the other direction, but again, that was their tactical move to go big. We didn't have an answer for it.
Any more from you guys? Jonathan, I see your hand up.
Ethan said he's good.
Two in South Carolina, back to back. It's a tough stretch with how much team looking forward to playing.
The emotional closeness of that LSU game, a 1-possession game, was physically, mentally draining. Then we had to stay in Baton Rouge that next day until midday because we had some plane issues, and it just allows you to waller in it and relive it and watch the replays over. Saw them over and over and over. We were in Baton Rouge everywhere we went. It was emotionally draining. I wish we probably would have. We toyed with just coming straight here, and I'm second guessing myself. Maybe we should have done that. Gotten out of Baton Rouge, gotten down here. So hopefully we'll learn something from that. But again, I think it had more to do with how well South Carolina played today, and not as much that.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks y'all for covering women's basketball. This is the longest press conference I've ever had.